Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. The studio lights were brighter than usual that morning, their gleaming intensity reflecting off the polished floors of Live with Kelly and Mark. Kelly Ripa adjusted her microphone nervously, a flutter of unease gnawing at her chest. Something in the air was different. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but even as the cameras rolled and the crew busied themselves, a subtle tension lingered, like a storm about to break. Mark Consuelos sat across from her, calm and composed as always, yet there was a weight in his eyes that Kelly had never seen before. Normally, he would greet her with that playful smirk, the one that always made her heart skip a beat. But today, he simply smiled faintly, his usual charm tempered by an unmistakable gravity. "Good morning, everyone," Kelly said brightly, trying to mask the knot of anxiety forming in her stomach. The audience cheered, applause ranging out through the studio, yet even their excitement couldn't penetrate the bubble of unease she felt. Mark cleared his throat, his hand resting lightly on the desk. "Kelly," he began softly, almost hesitantly, "there's something I've been meaning to share with you, with everyone, actually." His voice carried an unfamiliar tremor. Kelly's smile faltered. "Mark, what is it?" she asked, leaning in. There was a serious edge to his tone that made her heart race. He inhaled deeply, and the weight of his gaze made Kelly's throat tight. "I've been thinking a lot lately, about life, about us, and I realized there's something I need to ask of you, something important." The audience fell silent, sensing the shift. Kelly's hands gripped the edge of the desk, knuckles whitening. "Mark, you're scaring me, Mark," she whispered, a twinge of panic lacing her voice. Mark reached across, taking her hand gently. "I know, and I'm sorry. I need you to promise me something, Kelly. Something I can't live without asking for." A hush fell over the room. The audience leaned forward, captivated by the tension, sensing that this was not a normal segment. Kelly swallowed hard, feeling the weight of Mark's words. "Anything, Mark," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, her heart pounding in her chest. He looked at her with a mixture of love, sadness, and urgency. "If anything happens to me, if I'm ever gone before I should be, promise me you'll keep laughing. Promise me you'll keep living, even if it hurts. Promise me you won't let the world dim your light, even when I'm not there to see it." Kelly's breath hitched. The words hit her like a physical blow. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked rapidly, trying to hold them back. "Mark, don't say that," she choked out, her voice trembling. Don't talk like that. We're fine. We're okay." Mark shook his head gently, a sad smile tugging at his lips. "Kelly, I know everything's fine right now, but life is unpredictable. I need you to promise me this, even if it's hard to hear." The studio seemed to shrink around her. The bustling crew, the bright lights, the audience, it all faded into a blur. There was only Mark, only his gaze, imploring her to understand. Her heart clenched in a way she had never felt before. "I promise," she whispered finally, her voice breaking. She wanted to hold him, to never let go, but a strange ache in her chest told her that this moment was bigger than either of them. Mark reached over and squeezed her hand, his eyes glistening. "Thank you," he said simply. "That's all I need. Just promise me you'll live fully, and remember me with a smile, not just tears." Kelly's lips trembled as tears finally spilled over. The audience sat frozen, witnessing an unfiltered, raw human moment, an intimate glimpse into the love and devotion that had bound these two together for decades. As the cameras continued to roll, Kelly tried to compose herself, taking a shaky breath. "Mark, I can't imagine a world without you," she whispered, her voice cracking. He leaned closer, his forehead lightly against hers. "You won't have to.
But if that day ever comes, I need you to keep shining. Promise me that, Kelly." Her tears flowed freely now, cascading down her cheeks as the reality of his request sank in. She nodded through her sobs, clutching his hand as though it were her lifeline. "I promise," she whispered again, her voice a fragile echo of the love they shared. The segment ended, but no one moved. The cameras continued to record, capturing every raw emotion, every tear-streaked expression. Producers exchanged worried glances, unsure how to handle a moment that was no longer entertainment. It was life itself, fragile and beautiful. Later, in the green room, Kelly sat silently, wiping at her cheeks, still holding Mark's hand. The world outside the studio felt distant, unreal. The laughter, the banter, the scripted jokes, they all seemed trivial now, overshadowed by the gravity of his words. Mark wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. "I know it's hard, Kelly, but you're strong, stronger than you realize." She buried her face against his chest, tears soaking his shirt. "I don't know how to do this, Mark. I don't know how to even think about life without you,"
he said gently. "Just live your life. Love every moment. Don't waste a second on fear or sadness. And when the time comes, if it comes, remember that I'll always be with you in spirit, in laughter, in memories, in every little thing that makes life beautiful." Kelly nodded, her sobs gradually subsiding. She could feel the truth in his words, the urgency, the sincerity. She understood now that this wasn't about fear or loss. It was about love and the courage to keep living in its wake. Over the next few weeks, the incident lingered in Kelly's mind, replaying in vivid detail. The way Mark had looked at her, the subtle quiver in his voice, the way his hand had felt in hers. It haunted her in the most beautiful and heartbreaking way. She began to notice little things, moments that made her smile and ache simultaneously. The sound of his laughter echoing through the house, the way he always made coffee just the way she liked it, the familiar warmth of his embrace that had been her anchor for so many years. And she started to live just as he had asked. She laughed more, loved more deeply, and cherished every fleeting moment. Yet, in the quiet of the night, when the house was still, she would sometimes find herself whispering his name, as if saying it aloud could bring him closer. Then came the day Kelly had feared, yet somehow knew would arrive. Mark was gone, taken by circumstances no one could predict, leaving behind a void so immense it seemed impossible to fill. The world mourned with her, fans flooding social media with messages of support, tears, and shared grief. But for Kelly, the pain was deeply personal, private, and inescapable. She clung to his final request, repeating his words like a mantra: "Live fully, love deeply, remember me."
On air, she
with a
carried
smile.
the heartbreak and the hope together, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. She spoke of Mark with a mixture of reverence and joy, sharing memories that made the audience laugh and cry in equal measure. And in those moments, Kelly realized the profound truth in his request. Life was fleeting, fragile, and unpredictable, but it was also beautiful, because love like theirs existed at all. Years later, Kelly would recount that day on air, the day Mark had asked her to keep living, to keep smiling, even in the face of unimaginable loss. And though her tears were still real, her smile had returned, brighter than ever, a testament to a love that refused to fade.